Good morning, everyone. For those of you that I have not met yet, my name is Desire Kachenje, and I look after partnerships at the Mojaloop Foundation, and I also look after grants and the Accelerator program. So as my colleagues have introduced, I'll just give a brief background. The Accelerator program began in Rwanda, and our aim was to ensure that we're building in-country capacity for support for any Mojaloop projects. The way that we went about it is through twofold, online training, which is a theoretical bit, but as Elaine said earlier, the best way for tech teams to learn is by doing. And the most exciting part of the project has been working together with the tech teams to ensure that they can work on Mojaloop projects. Since last year, I think around October, we started working with tech teams from Malawi as well as Zambia. And I'm happy to say that we have about 5 of them here who are ready to present to you. And to share Steve's sentiments, the best part about the project is to actually see how these presentations come to life. One of the key things that we try to do is ensure that we're working with very high-skilled tech companies who already have in-country networks, but we also wanted them to be embedded into our community. So we did this through a mentoring program. And before they come up to present, I want to give a very big thank you to Warren and the Infotech team for all the support, but also the ThitsoWorks team for the support and the merchant payment work streams who have really worked together with these tech companies. And last but not least, Phil, my colleague, will come up and introduce each of the presentations, but I hope you will find this as interesting as we did, and we're hoping that NatSwitch and the Zekel team will also find this very interesting, and we'll get some conversations going after the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Desire. For those who don't know me, my name is Philip Green. I'm a technical solutions consultant at the Mojaloop Foundation, and I am based in Zambia. I was lucky enough to sit in on the Accelerator program in October before I'd actually joined the Mojaloop Foundation. And for me, it's really been exciting to follow the team's progress from the time I first sat with them in that training program. I'm personally pretty excited about what all the teams have achieved, and I just wanted to give a quick summary of all the use cases and work that we've covered before they come up. So to start off with, in-store merchant payments using the request to pay use case will be presented by Ajane. This is linking Mojaloop into a mobile money system. Person-to-person payments will be presented by Probase, and this is implemented from a core banking system into Mojaloop. Then we will have personal Mojaloop alias registration to support the G2P use case, and this will be presented by Spark Systems. And then we'll have in-person merchant payments using a QR code that will be presented by IMASys. And finally, we'll have disbursements presented by Net1. So having said that, I'd like to welcome up Akim from Ajane to present their work.
Hi, good morning. I hope I'm audible enough. Yeah, my name is Akim Chisha. I'm the co-founder and MD of Ajane. We're a Zambian fintech company, and we fell in love with Mojaloop not so long ago, last year. So our presentation today is basically to give you our proof of concept around how we've implemented Mojaloop in what we are calling in-store merchant payment using the request to pay. So we'll show you, I'll run you through our slide to explain how we've done this. Pretty much what we've done is we've built connectors, 2 connectors. One of them is connecting our point of sale terminal, and the other connector is basically connecting to Airtel Money to allow the push payment to go through to the mobile owner. So Next slide. So what are some of the use cases that we see here? The use cases include a scenario in which a customer could actually be seated home. You can call up a shop and say you want the following things, and then the merchant will actually be able to send that particular transaction to wherever you are, and you'll be able to confirm on the phone by entering the PIN to confirm the payment, and the transaction will actually be through, and then pretty much the transaction is complete. But the other way around is that the merchant could actually then use the same platform if there is need for a refund to actually make the payment back to the payer if there's any issue that actually goes in. So pretty much you can reverse the transaction when it's completed. That's actually the use case scenario. Next slide. Next slide, please. So we think we are revolutionizing the mobile payment platform, but not that we're doing something that has not been done or very new, but we think that we'll be able to achieve certain things at a very low cost point. And what we mean by this is that using Mojaloop, we are able to then develop on a platform that has got a lot of capabilities around it, and then be able to integrate and make certain things. Thank you. So what I was trying to say is we are then able to use Mojaloop at a very low cost point, and then be able to develop certain integrations or develop software around it that will make it far much cheaper for us to be able to achieve certain innovations. And that's what we think, that we are able to innovate around mobile banking and in so many other scenarios to be able to achieve a number of innovations. So, like I said, we've got the payer to pay scenario, and then we've got the payee initiated transaction payment, which is basically the opposite of each one of them. So in our particular scenario, like I said, we have a connector that is actually connecting to a mobile provider for mobile money. In our case, it's basically Airtel Money. And then we've got another connector that we built via Payment Manager, which is a Mojaloop Payment Manager, that is then connecting the point of sale and the mobile application to be able to complete the transaction. So in summary, that's how the whole setup looks. So we have a point of sale on one side, then we have a mobile app on one side. So the mobile app pretty much could actually also be USSD, but in our case, what we are actually showing you is actually a mobile application that we built, which is then connected to a connector for Payment Manager. A Mojaloop switch in between is actually simulated. It's just a Payment Manager across the two. And then we've got the other Payment Manager where we built the connector that is then connecting to Airtel Money to allow a customer that has got money with their mobile, that has got money into their mobile money account to be able to actually do the payment. And maybe just to demonstrate how this goes, I hope the video will be able to show how these two transactions actually happen. For the techies, pretty much that the sequence of how all the transaction sets and all the steps that we followed, that are followed during the transaction. I will skip around this. And then we'll go ahead and show you how we managed to do this via a video. So the payer to pay, as you can see, you've got the mobile app. In this case, we are reversing the transaction. I also want to make mention that on two sides, you see the logs that are showing how the actual transaction is happening in the background. Those are the two connectors that are actually running. So you've got the merchant connector, you've got the Airtel Money connector. So there's a confirmation to be done. another confirmation, then you get the USSD push. And there you go, the transaction is there, and there's a confirmation to actually be done. So now we've got the request to pay. This is where the merchant has got the point of sale. A customer has made an order from wherever they are. On both sides, you can see the log. There'll be a push. So there is a customer, the merchant initiated, the customer is entering the PIN. It's an easy PIN. Transaction is complete, entered by the customer. You can see both connectors processing the transaction in the video. And voila, the transaction is complete. The merchant gets the receipt. And at that time, that has been confirmed. That receipt will then be used by the delivery guy. If this is a delivery, this has to be delivered to the customer. That receipt will be delivered to the goods will be delivered with that receipt to the customer. We want to recognize the help we've gotten from other people. Some of them are here actually. Infitix, our mentors, were very helpful. Thanks to you. Wiredin, we bothered them quite a little bit as well. Thank you very much, guys. Philip was very handy, and also pretty much overall the Mojaloop community. But we also felt that, you know what, these are just videos. We thought that we could try to go beyond this, because in case you think we are actors, or in case I look like Idris Alba, so we actually have a point of sale there. It's connected via Google Cloud. And then there's a connector on there that is actually connected to Airtel in Zambia. One of our guys is actually online to see if he can receive the push payment. So fingers crossed, the network is a little bit unstable anyway. So we thought we'd show you the video, but we could actually try and replay the transaction. Maybe we could just take 1 or 2 minutes and just see if we can get the transaction going. You may have to stand on the other side. Yeah, please go ahead. I don't know if we can beam the guy that is online, but you can go ahead with the transaction anyway, just to. There you go. You can see, so Zawadi is in Zambia. He ordered masala tea from Kenya. So we've just made a payment, and Zawadi, you can go ahead and confirm the transaction. Okay, there we go. Thank you very much. So pretty much, and the whole confirmation has been done. So pretty much the point of sale via the merchant connector is going all the way. So like I said, so pretty much the point of sale is connected via our Google Cloud, and then our Google Cloud is connected to Airtel in Zambia, and our gentleman is seated in Zambia, and we're able to run the transaction, get confirmation, and there we go. So we'll be able to deliver masala tea to our friend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Akim, for that very, very amazing presentation. It's really nice to see these things working live. Next, I'd like to invite up Probase, who are going to present their person-to-person payments.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Louis Roy Zulu, and I'm a data analyst by profession, as well as a system engineer. So currently, I serve as the head of technology and business transformation at Probase Limited back in Zambia. So basically, my job is to keep an eye on the new technologies coming up and ensure that we see how best we can use them. Technologies like Mojaloop, and see how best we can implement them to build innovative solutions that really speak to the problems that we face as a continent as a whole. So as Probase, we've been running for more than a decade now. We are actually a leading fintech and ICT company back in Zambia. So our track record of works are both into the private sector as well as the public sector. So some of the works that we've done in the public sector is we have managed to implement the system that the National Pension Scheme uses, as well as the National Health Scheme uses. So the National Pension Scheme is called NAPSA, then the National Health Scheme is called INIMA. So other than this, we've also done systems like the e-tolling system that is also used by the NRFA. So this is our road agency. So we have built a system that helps collect funds when cars are moving from one city to another. So in the public and private sector, we've also managed to see how best we can combine the two. So when it comes to the private sector, we have deployed a taxi hailing app. It's currently called Unkago. It's one of the taxi hailing apps that you find when you come through in Zambia, as well as a wallet called Bevura. Other than that, we have deployed in more than 14 banks out of the 19 banks, a platform that many users from the corporate world as well as individuals use to pay their taxes to the regulators. So with what we do at Probase, we really focus on solving problems that are, number one, that have to do with payments, reconciliations, and collections. Then number two, we also want to ensure that we digitize and see how we can automate many different processes that people are doing to ensure that their work is coming through at ease. Then lastly, we also ensure that we do data analytics, because we do strongly believe that data is the way to go. I mean, for every decision to be made and to run a business effectively, we want to have the data and we want to have those numbers on the tip of our fingers. So on the screen right now, you realize that you're looking at some of the products that we've done. So you'll be able to see that there is an e-tolling system there, a check truncation system that we've done, as well as many other systems that we've done. So our board members are beamed on the screen, and our executive committee, as well as the team that is behind what we're about to demonstrate today in the Mojaloop solution. So the system that we used to integrate into Moja for our P2P transaction is actually called SmartPay. This system is the system that has been deployed in at least 14 banks out of the 19 banks that is actively being used by the industry. So the system is two-faced. Number one, it accommodates businesses, and number two, it accommodates individual users. So for businesses, what are we looking at? You realize that as a business, you want to pay the taxes as well as to pay the employees of the business. But then for you to do so, you really have to move from one platform to another. So we sat down together and put all these processes in one space. So when a business or a company logs onto SmartPay, they'll be able to pay for all their taxes. This includes the VAT. This includes taxes that are supposed to be remitted to the National Pension Switch. At the same time, they are able to do a bulk transfer and pay salaries to their employees. Now, what about an individual user like myself? How is SmartPay coming into play? So for an individual user like myself, I use SmartPay to pay my utility bills. I use SmartPay to do my transfers. I use SmartPay to manage my beneficiaries. These and many more other functionalities that SmartPay has is what we are actually going to see today. So to do the demonstration and showcase our capability and the functionality of the system being able to connect to Mojaloop, We did a P2P transfer that we managed to build through and see how we used Mojaloop. So in my demo, I will preview a video. A video will show Mike. So like any of us today, Mike faces almost similar challenges that we all face. Maybe some have been facing them for quite some time. This is how can I securely and swiftly send money from one account to another. So for instance, Mike has a mother who is based in the rural parts of Zambia. Am I able to pause? Thank you. So like I was saying, Mike is facing a challenge. How is he going to send money to his mother who's based in the rural parts of Zambia while he's based in the urban? So one fact that was quite very prevalent yesterday is that we have quite a huge number of women that are unbanked today. Hence, they are not financially included. So yes, Mike has access to all these technologies and the banks, the infrastructure, but does the mother have the same? No, the mother does not have. But then she has something that's very, very valuable, and that is a phone and a phone number. So then Mike, using SmartPay, he was able to actually transact, send money from his bank account through the power and magic of Moja to his mother on her mobile phone. So the video, please. Thank you so much. So for us to accomplish this, we ensured that we take advantage of the APIs that Mojaloop comes with. So if you did notice, is that the first step that Mike did was to enter the mother's number. So once you enter a recipient number, there is an API that Mojaloop provides. It's actually a name lookup API. That API goes and queries to see if that number is valid, and if it is valid, return the details of the recipient. Once the details of the recipient are returned, the next part that comes in is what we are calling the quote stage. So what this basically is that you get to enter the amount of money that you want to transact. Once you enter the amount of money, should there be a transaction fee, which of course is there, it will return a full quotation. This is how much money you want to send, and this is the charge you will be charged. Then after that, the last API that we took advantage of was the transfer API. Then you hit send, the money is then sent for processing and settlement to Moja and the other recipient, DFSP. So other than that, we also realize that Mojaloop also has made things quite simpler. For all this three-staged process, they have a single API that incorporates all these three APIs into one. So the only thing that you need to do is enter the destination where you want the money to go. Once you do that, everything that has happened on the screen takes place in the background, and then the money is sent without any hassle. So basically, this was our presentation. And before we go, I'd like to offer my special thanks to Philip, who's really quite been helpful in terms of communication and ensuring that we're on track. I also would like to express my thanks to Desire, as well as the Infotix team that have been that has really mentored us and ensured that we make it today and do this presentation. I would also like to make mention that should you also have some time, please do come through by the table. We should be able to show you all the two scenarios where you get to transact money through the use of the three APIs that are three-part, and also through the use of one API. We should be able to actually do that and showcase. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Luis, for that presentation. It's so great to see P2P running over Mojaloop in a real, almost real world case. Because as it's been described, it's just such a core use case, and great to see level 1 principles used in that use case. I would now like to invite the Spark Systems team, who will present digital personal. Sorry, this is a tough one for me. The Mojaloop personal alias registration.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is James Simbi. I am a systems engineer at Spark Systems. So today I'm going to be presenting on BRP, which is Beneficiary Registration Portal, that has been integrated with Mojaloop as well as Mojaloop SDK. Yeah, so about Spark. So Spark Systems is one of the leading ICT companies in Malawi. We do infrastructure as well as software development projects. We have managed to do a lot of in the payment space. We've done a lot of integrations both with banks, for example, with NBS Bank, as well as with MNOs. We've done integrations with MNOs like TNM. And coming to the project that we'll be presenting today, which is called the BRP Business Registration Portal. This system, it integrates with eSignet, Mojaloop project. It also integrates with Mojaloop SDK and the payment adapter. So what it does is, this is a G2P scenario whereby the government wants to pay a person. So we have members that are in the beneficiary management system. And from there, whenever a payment wants to be made to a particular beneficiary, that beneficiary, their details are checked with eSignet Mojaloop. So if the information is correct in Mojaloop, then a token is generated from there, and that particular token, it is now used to make future payments to that particular beneficiary. Yeah, so the system basically streamlines payments with Mojaloop ecosystem by creating a token that is associated with a beneficiary or user's account that is now used for future payments. And as you can see on the screen there, once a user has been selected, their details are checked with Mojaloop, and with Mojaloop, it brings the KYC information. Once the KYC information comes, it is now used and it is compared with the information that is found in Mojaloop. So once that information is deemed to be correct, future payments cannot be done. So for those payments to be done, a registration token is registered, and that token is stored in the business registration system that we can now use that particular token to make payments to the beneficiary. What are the benefits that comes with this particular system? So the first one is data verification. I already said that from the Mosip e-signet, we get the KYC, and that particular information that is received from Mosip, it is now checked with the information that is found in Mojaloop. Once that particular information is correct, has been verified, then future payments can be done. With the streamlined payment processing, this is done using the token that is generated. So that particular token is associated with the beneficiary's account. And on enhanced security, here, as you can see that before any payment or any token can be generated, there is a check that is done. We have the checking with the data that is found in Mosip, as well as the data that is found in Mojaloop. So if that particular information is correct, then the token is generated. With effortless integration, there it is, as you can see, I've already talked about that. The project integrates Mojaloop SDK, the payment adapter, as well as Mosip e-signet. So it is easier for us to integrate with 3 particular systems. And I'm going to take you through the demo. I'm going to talk about the demo so that we understand what is happening. So about the demo, as you can see, we have members in business management system. You select a particular individual that you want to make, to generate a token for. Once you go into business registration system, you are redirected to Mosip e-signet. Then you choose to log in with OTP. You put in the unique identifier. Then it generates an OTP. So the OTP is sent either to the email address or the phone number that was registered with. Once that is done, you verify. If that information is correct, you are now redirected back to the beneficiary registration portal. You put in the payment number as well as the payment type. Once you click on register, as you can see there, it first of all verified that the KYC data was correct. Then it registered the token. After registering the token, you are now redirected back into the beneficiary registration, the beneficiary management system, and you can see now that that particular individual has been registered and their token has been generated. So in the afternoon, we're going to show you live on how everything is done from the beneficiary management system to the registration portal to e-signet, and Elijah and the team will now show you on how that particular token that was generated there is used to make future payments. And lastly, I would like to give thanks to the Infinix team. They've done a great job in mentoring us as well as giving us guidance on how we should do all this, and also Phil as well as Desire. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much for that, James. This is really, really important work that will enable safer disbursements like GTP, which is something that's, I think, very critical to a lot of the economies that we're working with. So thank you very much for that. I'd now like to invite up the IMOSys team, who are going to present in-person merchant payments using QR codes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Austin Townsend. I'm a software developer at IMOSys. I'm here to present the project that we've been working on for payer-initiated payments, more especially on customer-initiated merchant payments. Before that, let me start with IMOSys. IMOSys is a leading industry, especially in information and communication technology. Also, we provide engineering services in Malawi. IMOSys joined Mojaloop community as a system integrator for the Commerce Business Council, Malawi, Zambia POC of a digital retail payment scheme. We have also been contributed to some of the works that our mentors were doing, which is TISA works. TISA works were developing this merchant register system. So IMOSys was taking part of that with Karim, with the mentorship also from Karim. So the work that we've been working on is on two mobile applications. The first application is for merchant application, and the other is for the customer application. So the payment is initiated first from the merchant. So as you can see on the screens there, we have the designs for the merchant application. So the first screen shows the options that the merchant can choose to generate requests for the payments or to view transactions. So because we want to demonstrate the payments, which means we start with the generation of a request, payment request. Thereafter, the merchant will be required to provide the amount as well as optionally the description of that transaction. Thereafter, the QR code will be generated, as you can see on the screen. And also, this QR code is dynamic, which means it changes for every transaction. So which means if you want to make a transaction, a new QR code should be generated. On this slide, this is now the customer application. So on the customer application, I can choose either to pay using the QR code or to pay with areas. So because we have taken the path of QR code generation, which means we choose to pay with QR code. So after that, then there'll be a screen where the customer will need to scan the QR code that has been generated by the merchant. So as you can see on the screen as well, that's the QR code that the customer scans. So after scanning, then there'll be details of the merchant. So like the merchant ID or merchant name and also other merchant account details, so that the customer should confirm that I'm really sending this money to the required merchant. After that, there'll be like a need for the customer to initiate the payments now. So for the customer to initiate the payments, I'll click on that button. And this, as you know that we are using Mojaloop, Mojaloop. So we installed Mojaloop in our servers using a drop rate. We created a separate instance for the Mojaloop. And also we use the schema adapters so that we can integrate the simulation of the core banking systems that we came up with to the schema adapters and also to the Mojaloop. So after the customer clicked on the initiated the payments, it means the request to go to the DFS backend, or another way that's core banking system. Then after that, the request to go to the Mojaloop. Then we'll come up with the quotation for the transaction. So as you can see on the second screen, that's where there are quotations where the customer need to approve that, okay, I'm okay with these charges for this transaction. After that, then I can approve or reject. After approve, then the transaction will be successful, as you can see on the last screen. So in short, that's the screens, but now I'll go to the video or the demonstration of the applications.
For example, 5,000 kwacha and a short description of the payment request. A QR code is generated containing the payment request information. This QR code can be shared to the customer through social media like WhatsApp, which the customer can use to make the payment. After logging into the app as a customer, you're greeted by this page. This page allows the user to make a payment either by a QR code or by an alias, which in this case would be a unique account number. We're going to scan the QR code that was generated by the merchant earlier. This code can also be uploaded from the device if it was downloaded from another platform. The results of the scan show all the details of the payment request, including the amount, name of the account, and merchant ID. We can now trigger a payment request. The next screen shows the payment approval page. This screen encapsulates the agreement phase of the Mojaloop transaction. It shows all the payment or transaction details, including the transfer fees. If the customer is in agreement, they can now approve the request and trigger the transfer. In the background, the app ensures the user has a sufficient balance for the transaction. Finally, the transaction is completed successfully. We can also see that the customer's DFSP confirms the transfer with the SMS alert, with the same happening in the merchant side confirming receipt.
Yeah, so this is the demonstration of the video of the applications that we have built. But as of now, it's just testing. So we are yet to use real DFSPs to onboard maybe 2 DFSP. We're going to use Airtel as well as TNM so that the transfer of the funds can be in real time with the min loop on the middle. So the way that we did this is where we come up with the simulation or the core banking systems as DFSP backends. So what actually happens is that when the merchant initiates this payment request, the request to go to the DFSP backend, more like a core banking system. So this core banking system first will check the account balance for the customer that would try to make a payments to a merchant. And then if the balance of that customer is required or is greater than the amount that need to be sent to the merchant, then which means the transaction will proceed. After that, then this request to go to the now scheme adapter. So as you know, the phases of a scheme adapter or the phases of min loop, we have 3 phases where the we need like discovery. When we are trying to look up for the party or the receiver in this case. So after that, we did auto accept for the party because we already know where the money is going because it has been initiated by the merchant. So which means we don't need to wait for the payer to accept that. So then after that, we'll come to the phase of quotation. So in this quotation is where the fees are generated. So these fees are generated for the transaction according to the currency that the customer is using. After that, then the customer will need to confirm that, okay, I'm okay with the fees that have been generated for this transaction. Thereafter, the transaction will go through. So I think in a typical, that's the process that we have taken to implement this project. Lastly, I would like to thank those people involved, most especially TISAWEX, Karim, Desire, and the field.
Thanks so much to James and the IMOSys team. The merchant payment stream is so massive and QR code is very in vogue and I think something that's been looked at across many countries. So great to see that contribution. What I'd like to do is introduce Net1 and the work that they've done. Unfortunately, the Net1 team had some travel issues and weren't able to be physically present today. So what I'm going to do is kick off 2 short videos that will describe the work that they've done. Net1 is basically an infrastructure provider in Zambia. They have I guess a large data center based in Lusaka. At the same time, they also have some financial services applications, including a QR code based QR code-based merchant payment system, and they are now looking to move into disbursements, and they wish to use Mojaloop for their disbursements platform, which is what will be displayed now. Sam, if you could run, the first Net1 video, please.
Everyone, my name is Peter Kabakasa. I'm a senior software developer at Net1. For a few months, we've been building the bulk disbursement system. We wanted to achieve disbursement to a mobile wallet or to a bank account for different users all at once. So for this, we are using Mojaloop as a payment method or a payment gateway or a switch to transfer money on our behalf to the MNOs. So as a DFSP, we will send money to another DFSP and receive the response and update our system. So we have built a very comprehensive system, and I would like to demo it. So we've created 3 users, which is a maker, a checker, and an approver. So for our system, you need to go through the maker, checker, approver steps. So what it means is there'll be one person who will make the payment, or should I say initiate it, by adding a CSV with different users in it that are receiving money, so payees. And then there'll be a checker who will check what the maker had created and verify, make sure everything is in order, check the amounts that are being paid and the phone numbers or the bank accounts. And then finally, there'll be an approver who will approve the payment and verify that the money exists in the account. So I would like to log in as the maker. And once I log in as the maker, I can then start to initiate a bulk send. So you can go through several other features, but for this demo, we want to showcase the main flow. So I can create something called April payments as a test. And then we've got the company that you're paying from, which is the Flamingo Paints. And then finally, you need to add your CSV. So for the CSV, the template looks like this. So you've got the employee, and then you've got the price, and then you've got the mobile or bank method, and then finally you've got the name. So money will be dispersed to this particular mobile wallet by the MNOs. If it's bank, there'll be a bank account number here. So I'll go ahead and add my CSV.
There are some pieces missing to this video because when they recorded it, they didn't record both screens. So unfortunately, when he was referencing things in the CSV, that's offline. And you'll see that a little bit at the end, and we'll play a second video just to cover those gaps.
Add my CSV. There it is. Done. So when I go to the next step, I'm able to see what was in the CSV. I can add or remove somebody. I can also verify the amount. And once deducted from 640, I know that it will now be 4340. I have money in my account. Everything is fine. Then I can send it to the checker. So to send it to the checker, you need to hit the PIN or to verify it via fingerprint. Send it to your phone. So to verify that, I'll put in the PIN, which is we're in test mode, so it's fine if you see the PIN. There we go. And it sends to the next step, which is to the checker. So I can then go back to my request, for example, here, and then I can see April payments. It's a checker step, sent to approver, and then it's waiting for the assigned user. So because I'm a maker, I can't do anything on it. And then I can log out and finally log into the checker. So when I log into the checker, there we go, thank you. When I go to manage requests. I'm able to see it at the bottom, it's a checker step, and then needs to be sent to approval. So I can then verify what the client needs. So to verify, I can then see the phone number, various phone numbers, mobile, and then I look at each, and the person that's receiving, and then I can also see the available balance and as well as the amount, total amount. So I can then verify and send this to the next step because everything checks out. Okay. So it is sent to the next step. So finally, we can now log in as the approver. So once we log in as the approver, okay. So once we log in as the approver, we can then head over to manage requests, and we should be able to see it, the pro payments, which is waiting for approval to pay. It's at the approval step, so I can easily go and verify. When I go to verify, I can see everything checks out, and I can also see as the approver what the next balance would be. It would be 4340 from the current balance, which is 4640. Okay, so once I approve this payment, there we go. But this is that. Okay. So once I authenticate, there we go. So now finally I can then go and view processing of this payment. So it's a processing step. And when I go to view processing, I'll be able to see the processing of the transactions. So we've deliberately set it to 2 at a time, so 2, and then finally there you go. The last one has been processed. So we are doing this via Mojaloop, and I would like to showcase what's happening at the back end as well. So once you head over to our database, you can see our transaction has come in just now, which is 906, and you can see the Mojaloop ID there, which has been paid. So we are pulling this from the payment manager. So finally, I would like to just showcase the entire structure. So what happened was our bulk system sent to our DFSP, and of course for our ledger and the public government quoting service, but we sent the money through the payment manager, and MTN received it on the other side. And MTN, after dispersing the money to the particular mobile wallet, sends it back to us, and we update our system, which is the ID that you are now seeing in our database. So thank you for the opportunity to present. It has been a lovely experience with Mojaloop. And finally, we are at a place where we can finally disperse money to various mobile wallets. So for the backend, I would like to showcase what is happening in the backend. So in our database, we've got this CSV list. And these are the last 3 requests which were sent, successfully processed, and they're no longer active. The IDs from Mojaloop are these. So if you run a status check on these IDs, we should be able to receive the current status of a transaction. Yeah, this is what's happening in the backend. And you can see from our bulk system, we send it to a DFSP through the payment manager to MTN. And MTN, after updating their records, paying someone, we receive that response and we save it in our database.
So I think we can all agree that this was a massive bulk of work contributed by the system integrators of our Accelerator program and also by their mentors. So I think it'd be really great if we can give a big round of applause to all of the system integrators and their mentors.
There's a lot we need to unpack here for a second. So for some of us who've been here for a while, the first thing is for the hub operators, and there's actually hub operators from Malawi and Zambia here. In a matter of 2 months, companies in your markets built these use cases, not for production, but built these use cases. If anybody out there is still thinking you need to go shop around for vendors to build these use cases for you in Europe or the US, please stop, because it is absolutely possible for these to be built locally. And this was absolutely amazing. To remind ourselves, we saw request to pay using a phone number. We saw dynamic QR merchant payment. We saw bulk disbursement. We saw an integration to a national identity system. And we saw a P2P from an urban, very urban environment to a feature phone. Those are all incredibly important use cases that in a matter of months, these teams were able to build. So, I mean, Miller, since you're right in front of me, all 5 of these challenge some of the POCs that we saw people trying to build use cases on 2 years ago. And this was all done from starting point 0 by Zambian and Malawian SIs for free. This was their volunteered time to try to do this. So this is really, really how far we've come. And I just want to make sure everybody in the community, first of all, acknowledges how far we've come, because this is the level of POCs that we saw from people doing long paid projects. This is absolutely amazing. These teams were absolutely amazing. So I want to once again thank all 5 of these teams. And I also want to once again remind the hub operators in the room how possible it is for all of your work and all of your use cases to be built locally. So please take that to heart. We already give a big round of applause for the 5 companies. So I do want Phil and Desire to please stand up. This was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you both so much. I said at the beginning, Ellen, like I was emotional from the one presentation. You multiply that times 100. Thank you all so much for doing this. Thank you both for putting this together.